Your experience of life isn't just the way it is. It is created by your stories about yourself, about your life, about the world around you. And this was a beautiful reminder that I received recently because I was creating from a lot of fear, tension, pressure, stress. The work that I was doing, it wasn't as fun anymore, and I didn't understand where this was coming from. And this is often the challenge when you have an experience like that. You only feel the feelings and you feel the emotions, but where is this coming from? How are you creating this? So I needed to slow down for a moment because even when I slept 9 hours, I still woke up exhausted with tension, with stress. I had a headache constantly. And that's when I really felt like I need to slow down to connect to what is the story that is even creating this experience. And that's when I could immediately see that I fell behind in life. I needed to get ahead. I needed to catch up. And I could also see where this was coming from because I spent close to half of my 20s ill. So I was thinking, well, just imagine if you weren't ill, like how far ahead would you have been if you could spend all that time working, for example. So now, with that story of the illness in the back of my in the back of my mind, with some significant life events that happened last year that completely shifted my trajectory of my life for a moment, well, I could see, well, you need to catch up. So this was the story that was present. You need to catch up. You are behind. And if you don't catch up, if you don't get ahead in life, then whatever story is present, you're not good enough. You're not worthy. People will judge you. People will leave you. The abandonment. Like all of these stories and layers are present in that feeling of stress. But now the question is also, is this true? How do I know that this is true? This is only true because I believe it to be true. Is this the universal truth about my life? Like it's not, I'm choosing to write my chapter like this. And this is where you get to play with your reality, with the stories that you have about yourself, about your life, about the world around you. And let's play with this in this video as well. So if you look at your current chapter of your life, how would you describe this chapter? How would you describe your current chapter in your life? Because the way that I was describing it, as in you need to catch up, like this was not fair. And I can imagine that the way that you are talking about your life as well, it is not fair to you as well. Because you've gone through a lot. You had to go through a lot of hardships, and maybe you're even going through hardships right now. So is it fair to create this heavy layer on top of it, this heavy story on top of it, about this current chapter of your life? Because the way that you describe this chapter is also the experience that you create for yourself. So my story, you need to get ahead, will create tension, will create fear and stress. But what if I would recreate this chapter? What if this is my comeback, for example? How would I feel differently about this chapter of my life? And this is where you get to play as well with your reality. How would you reframe this current chapter? What would you love this chapter to look like? What would be the title of the chapter? What would you be writing? What is the main character going through? And maybe how is this shaping the main character in the most powerful way possible? Because you get to choose. You get to choose the story. And you can choose the story that is, let's say, unresourceful, that is impacting your life in a unresourceful, negative way. Or you can choose the story that impacts the main character of the story, which is you, in the most powerful way possible. So like I said, you are behind in life and you need to get ahead. Like this is one type of experience, but what if this is the comeback? What if I was meant to go through all of these experiences, to feel more grounded in myself, more grounded in my life, to come closer to myself, instead of running like a crazy person? And you can tell a story about every single thing that happens. Because what if you get rejected when you are working towards your goals? What if you get injured? What if you experience judgments? What if you don't know what to do? What is the story that you tell about those experiences? And what is the story that you tell about yourself when those experiences happen? Because I know this sounds maybe initially complex, but this is the web that people are stuck in. They only are aware of the experience, but if you see, okay, I experienced this situation, I get rejected. Now this means something. Oh, I will never, let's say you get rejected by a girl, I will never be in a relationship. I will be forever alone. So how much pressure and tension would you think you experience? But what if that rejection was actually building your character? Like that's already a different story that you can tell yourself about that rejection. Similar to you failing or you getting injured. What if this is an opportunity? What would that feel like? If the injury is an opportunity for you? How would you recreate the story around it? Is it uncomfortable? Yes, I'm not talking about the toxic positivity kind of stuff, but you are able to recreate your story to create the most powerful experience for yourself. But are you using this skill to your advantage? Are you using the power that you have in your mind to recreate your life in any way that you want? Because you are the creator. When people even get mad at you, you can create what this means. If you think, oh, now I'm not good enough, or now they will leave me, or now this, of course you will feel the feelings that are accompanied with that story. But you get to choose the story. You are always in control over your life because you are creating the experience in itself. Life isn't the way it is. That's the beautiful thing about life. You always are experiencing yourself and your own stories through every single thing in life. So that's why I don't even remember what the quote is. You don't see life as it is, but you see life the way that you are. Every single experience is created by you. That's why I always come back to you are the creator of everything. Because this also gives me the ability to play with life. That's the way that I view it. Whenever I experience the stress and tension, I immediately go to how am I creating this? Through my thinking, through my stories. I start to question the hell out of those stories. And then I choose to recreate it. What if I could write a more empowering chapter for my life that I'm currently going through? What if I would talk differently about myself and what certain events mean, what certain experiences mean? When you didn't get the result that you wanted, do you create a story that I will never be successful? Because that will completely deflate you. Of course you start to feel depressed and you start to feel hopeless and completely lost because I will never be successful if this is the story that you create about not getting the result that you want. But this is again, especially in the uncomfortable situations, because it's easy to talk good about getting the results that you want and create a positive story out of this. But how would you create the stories around something that is negative, something that you don't necessarily want to experience? What kind of stories do you create out of that so you don't get the result that you want? What is the most empowering story that you can tell yourself about this? What if this is all practice? What if this is all learning? What if this is a springboard to you getting to the results that you want? What if all of these rejections that you get, all of these judgments, is you building the character that is necessary and where you are cultivating the being that is necessary for you to be able to get the result that you want? This is all training. This is all practice. It is part of the journey. So now, and this is just a quick example, so now you're recreating your experience and the story that you tell about the situation. So this is just a reminder, and especially with the chapter of your life, what are the stories that you tell about yourself? What are the stories that you tell about the current chapter of your life and about the world around you? Because this is where you have the power to recreate your life in such magical ways. If you take full ownership for the stories that you tell about life and you choose to create a different one intentionally, because the stories are just automatically created in a lot of cases based on whatever conditioning and whatever past experiences you have. But once you bring them into your awareness, you are able to intentionally recreate the most powerful story possible.